Manute Bol was the tallest NBA player ever, but scoring, that wasn't his talent. Instead, he made history by dominating the court with his incredible shot-blocking ability. From stopping icons like Shaquille O'Neal and Michael Jordan to literally disrupting entire offenses, including a legendary game where he blocked 15 shots, Bol proved that you don't need to score points to control a game. But his path to success was full of obstacles. He not only had to cope with a tough childhood and physical limitations, but also with the constant doubt from coaches, teammates, and fans, often fueled by racism. His life was an absolute roller coaster, which all started when he was born in 1962 in Sudan, in a village called Turalei, in the heart of South Sudan. His childhood was far from normal. Growing up in the Dinka tribe, the tallest people in the world, Bol's life was intertwined with traditions and rituals he found hard to accept. He initially refused to participate in his tribe's traditional manhood rituals, which involved having his lower teeth removed and scarring his head. But to get closer to his father, he eventually agreed, also because a Dinka girl would otherwise refuse to marry him. The challenges of his youth didn't stop there. While most NBA players had their first basketball experiences in well-equipped gyms, Bol had to walk 3 days to reach the nearest basketball court. At that time, he didn't see basketball as his future. He was more interested in going to school, something rare in his village. But a local politician changed his life by taking a picture of Bol and publishing it in a newspaper. This photo caught the attention of a distant cousin of Bol, a basketball player, who convinced him that his future lay on the basketball court. Bol's road to success was not without obstacles. He was continuously confronted with doubts from coaches, fans, and even teammates. Many wondered if someone of his height and slender build could handle the rough and intense game of the NBA. Most coaches initially saw Bol as a gimmick, someone placed on the court to steal the show with his height, but who could never make a real impact. His fragile physique was a constant source of criticism. This skepticism was an obstacle Bol had to overcome. Despite these doubts, he quickly discovered that with his height and exceptional timing, he had a unique weapon, his shot-blocking ability. Bol blocked shots as if it was nothing, and this immediately gave him influence on the game. In his rookie season with the Washington Bullets, Bol led the league in blocked shots, averaging an impressive 5.0 blocks per game. His ability to neutralize his opponent's shots, regardless of their size, made him a valuable player for any team that put him on the court. But alongside these achievements, there were also dark moments. Bol was often undervalued, both on and off the court. His physical limitations and the fact that he never became a scorer made him a target for criticism. Coaches and analysts thought he would never make a serious contribution to a championship team, and yet, every time he stepped onto the court, Bol proved them wrong. This became clear when Bol faced off against some of the biggest names in the NBA, such as Shaquille O'Neal and Michael Jordan. Perhaps the most impressive feat was that Bol, despite his physical limitations, was able to block shots from 7-footers like Ewing and attackers like Jordan. The image of the slender, almost fragile Bol blocking the shots of these NBA giants became legendary. Manute Bol's story remains a fascinating contrast. For every challenge he encountered, such as his fragile health, there were moments of pure triumph. Every time he racked up blocked shots and frustrated his opponents, it was a victory over the physical and mental challenges he faced daily. But Bol's story wasn't just a sports journey. It was also a personal battle, especially with the obstacles off the court. He was often reduced to a curiosity and confronted with racism and stereotyping, both within and outside the NBA, where his unique background and physical appearance made players and coaches doubt his abilities. Bol's personal journey was shaped by his determination and his bond with his family, especially his mother, who was always a source of strength for him. He found peace and strength in her encouragements, despite the criticism and racism he faced in the US. The life lessons he learned from her, such as "don't let anyone steal your joy," gave him the strength to keep going, even when the setbacks piled up. Off the court, Manute Bol became a mentor and inspiration to others. His leadership didn't come from being a top scorer, but from his ability to turn his weaknesses into strengths. This later inspired not only his teammates, but also future generations of players. Many younger players saw in Bol an example of perseverance and self-confidence, even when others doubted you. His legacy as a leader and mentor is just as impressive as his on-court achievements. Bol became a true inspiration, not only because of his success on the basketball court, but also because of his dedication to humanitarian causes. He used his NBA salary to support his homeland of Sudan, where he funded schools and supported healthcare. This was proof that Bol was not just an NBA legend, but also a man with a deep sense of responsibility and compassion.
Because my people are dying. I am not happy. When I came in, I was feeling really so bad because what I saw in my eyes is not what people told me.
Bol's NBA career was marked by some unforgettable moments. One of the most iconic performances was in a game where Bol managed to block 15 shots. This record still stands as one of the most remarkable defensive feats in NBA history.
8 blocked shots in the first half for Manute Bol.
For many fans, Bol was seen as the ultimate shot blocker, and his ability to neutralize shots no matter who was on the other side made him a nightmare for opponents. Additionally, his play against superstars like Shaquille O'Neal and Patrick Ewing remains legendary. The contrast between the massive strength of Shaq and the slim, tall Bol on the court was almost surreal, and yet Bol managed to block the shots of these icons. His defensive abilities were so impressive that he changed the NBA in terms of how teams defended and how attackers had to adjust their strategies to bypass him. Despite all his success, Bol also experienced personal losses. The death of his father, who had a great influence on his life, was a low point that deeply affected him. This tragedy was followed by the loss of his friend and teammate Reggie Lewis, which was another emotional blow. Still, Bol clung to basketball, not just as a career, but also as a way to cope with grief and hardship. He used the game as a way to motivate himself and turn his pain into productivity. During the difficult periods of his career, such as during his time with the Golden State Warriors, where he often felt like an outsider, Bol held on to his unwavering belief in his ability to impact the game. Even when teams overlooked him or coaches saw him as a gimmick, Bol consistently proved that his value went beyond just scoring points. Ultimately, Manute Bol's story remains an inspiration for future generations. He proved that you don't have to score points to make an impact on the court. His story shows that even someone with clear physical limitations and setbacks can find success through perseverance and embracing their unique strengths. For small guards and even tall players who don't fit the traditional basketball molds, Bol is a symbol of how you can create your own path. It's no surprise that modern NBA stars like Trae Young look to Bol as an inspiration. His legacy lives on in players who refuse to be defined by their physical limitations and instead focus on what they can contribute. Bol's unique combination of height, timing, and mentality made him a legend, not because he scored points, but because he embodied the essence of team play. Manute Bol was not just a basketball player. He was an icon who proved that success in basketball goes beyond just scoring. Through his shot-blocking abilities, leadership, and humanitarian efforts, Bol left an indelible mark on the world of sports. His story is an inspiring example of how perseverance and a strong belief in oneself can overcome any barrier, no matter how high it is. Want to hear more inspiring stories about NBA stars who defied expectations? Subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for our next videos.